Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Cryo, back with another dungeon walkthrough, Mythic Plus pull by pull. Today we're taking a look at Waycrest Manor, a unanimously hated dungeon it seems, although I think it gets a bad rap. Let's get into it. Alright, let's get right into this walkthrough as there's a lot to cover and I'd hate to leave anything out. Now, Waycrest usually gets a bad rap because there was a lot of RNG, whether which door was open determined which route you could take. But with this new Season 4 Awakened affix, it essentially allows you to have an upper left-hand door all the time. And I'll explain that a little bit later. This first pull, go ahead and pull all these soul essences if your group can handle it, even if it's a bolstering week. You can lock them down with stuns or individual interrupts. And if it's a sanguine week, just make sure they're not dying on top of each other. Now, we had an upper right hand door, but it really didn't matter because what we're going to do is take this first lieutenant and we're going to drag him all the way to the Heartsbane Triad so that we can fight them first, as it's the hardest boss in here. So what I do is I drag this guy down here as to not clog up the stairs too much with the pool that he drops. I let my group kill the eyes. After the tentacles are done, now begins our long journey through the dungeon, kiting this guy all the way to our first boss. For the sake of the video, I did decide to speed it up as it can be like a minute and a half or so. But trust me, it's absolutely worth it as it allows you, again, to start on the Heartsbane Triad with a hero and the majority of your cooldowns up. Go ahead and kill him and we can move on to the trash. Nothing too crazy about this trash. You want to focus the Thistle Alkalite down. These Blight Toads do add a stacking dot to your tank for a little bit of magic damage. It's nothing too dangerous. When they die, they explode, as you see here. You walk around disoriented, and chances are you'll get hit by another one, and you're locked down for about 15 seconds. Here we have the Heartsbane Triad, arguably the most difficult boss in this dungeon. You will always want to pull it with hero, regardless if it's fortified or tyrannical. Now, I notice most pugs die when they get to Sister Malady. Here you see the Aura of Dread. You need to move to drop your stacks. A lot of people stand there and they take 3 or 4 stacks and it does a tremendous amount of damage. And that's an easy way to wipe your group. Sister Selena always starts first, and she's the one that casts Soul Manipulation. She will mind control one of your party members. You need to damage them down to 50% health. Try not to leave too many dots or lingering debuffs on them, as they will maintain them when they're no longer mind controlled. Other than that, interrupt the boss that has the focusing iris as a priority and get them down. Now with the Rune Weaver, they do a marking cleave. Make sure you're not aiming it at your group if you're the tank. Also, the Enthralled Guards have a cleave, Shadow Cleave. Again, do not aim it towards your group. A lot of people do not know these are cleaves, and they stand with their melee and they're killing their DPS and they don't know why. Again, here we have another Bewitched Captain, and then we accidentally pulled a Vine Twister, which could spell trouble, but we ended up handling it okay. She casts Grasping Thorns. It does put a dot, a nasty dot. Our warrior is able to enrage regen and heal himself up from it, but go ahead and interrupt it if you can. This wasn't an ideal pull. Do what you can to help your healer out. Kite when you need to kite, interrupt what you need to interrupt, and stun, lock down other adds. Now this courtyard can get a little hairy, especially on a bolstering week or a bursting week. You don't want to pull too big, so I went ahead and pulled these back into the hallway a little bit to avoid pulling extra jagged hounds. There are 2 paths that roll around. This is the second one, and I felt we were staggered enough that I could grab them. And then we just go ahead and pull the second group. Here we have Thorn Guards and Thorn Shapers. Thorn Guards do have a tearing strike that deal a burst of physical damage on the tank. Nothing too crazy to deal with. Thorn Shapers, they cast Uproot, Infected Thorn, and Effigy Reconstruction. Uproot is uninterruptible, but you can easily dodge the plants on the ground when you see them spawning. Just move out of them. Infected Thorn you can interrupt. Does a little bit of damage here and there. Now Soul Fetish is cast by the Thorn Shaper, and she will put it on a target, and when they die, that target will become empowered. You can interrupt it if you want, or just deal with the empower to add, whatever your group decides. The Matron here, really nothing to worry about. It's mostly tank damage, Thorn Barrage, a little bit of physical damage. Heal yourself through it, be cognizant of it. There's also Splintered Spike, which you'll see shows up on the ground. Again, just move out of the graphic, don't get hit by it. Here we have the Soulbound Goliath. Not a terribly difficult fight if your tank is feeling crazy. The most important thing you want to do is stack in together, regardless of what kind of class you are, because you see those Soul Thorns, you want to get them down as soon as possible, as it incapacitates one of your party members, and an incapacitated healer or DPS means the boss is going to live a lot longer. Now they will cast Crush. You just want to make sure your tank has active mitigation up for it. And now you see these boss stacks. He's getting an increased damage from Soul Harvest. The only way to get rid of that is to drag him through fire. But when you drag him through fire, he does an AoE to the entire party. So if there's a way you can communicate it to your healer, let him know that you're going to do it. If not, what I like to do is stutter step to the fire. This slowly lets the party know, hey, I'm about to go over this fire patch. AoE is about to happen. Be ready for it. If you're a warrior tank, you can take much higher stacks because you can mitigate most of the damage. I feel comfortable around 25 to 30 stacks, and then I drag them into the fire. The second pylon we take here, regardless of who it is, we're just going to leave him up here. We don't need to use his portal to get anywhere. Make sure you drag him to an area where your DPS can safely get out of his AoE. As you see there, you can dodge Spirit Breaker with a well-timed Chi Torpedo or Heroic Leap. Now this hallway used to be scary, but it's really not that bad. These maggots do not bolster, they do not burst, so you can go ahead and do a big Pel, but you want to make sure you're kicking this infest. As you see, we missed it there, and I got hit with the dot, which means in 6 seconds, more ads are going to spawn, and this can just lead to a longer run because you're dealing with more trash. You do get percent for it, but it's not ideal. Continue pulling down the hallway, pull a little bit more, and again, the pigs, the piglets, they will bolster, they will burst, but the maggots do not. So if you can separate them, do it. If not, go ahead and kill the maggots first and then the piglets. Before Ral the Gluttonous, here you have the Banquet Steward who casts Dinner Bell. Make sure you're interrupting that, stunning that, kicking that, knocking him back. You do not want him to get that cast off, as it will AoE silence your party. You could also just move out of it, but I find it's much easier to keep everything grouped up and just simply interrupt it. Now these Gorgers cast Wretch. It's an AoE conal ability. Do not be in front of it. If you're tanking, do not aim it at your party. You can also stun them, interrupt them, incapacitate them to prevent them from casting it. Now, Ral the Gluttonous, a very easy fight. We decided to use Hero here just so we knew we were going to have it up for the last boss, and you don't really need it for the second to last boss. But things to note, do not stand in the green stuff on the ground, and do not stand in this Tenderize ability. It is a wide cone. The farther away you are, the more likely it is you're going to get hit, and the harder it is to dodge. Melee, watch out for leaving too much green in front because the tank needs to be in melee range, or he will cast Consume All. He will also summon these servants. You can stun them, CC them, or you can kill them. You just want to make sure that they are not reaching the boss, or Ral will cast Consume Servant, and it will give him a permanent 5% damage increase. Do what you can to keep these slimes off of your party. Try to grab aggro. It's tough because you have to stay in melee range. Again, another pull with maggots. Go ahead and grab all of them. They do not burst, they do not bolster. Interrupting the maggot infest. Stunning the spits if you can, or dodging them. Now here, we had our warrior go down and open the door. I'm not sure if they fixed this bug or not, but you weren't able to click doors when you were in this realm, so it was weird. So we had our warrior go down and click the door, and I immediately dragged the lieutenant through it to make sure that the entire party gets down here and inside before the door closes. Regardless of which lieutenant this is, handle the ads, and you want to drag him all the way to the other side of the basement to the next pylon. If your group is feeling up for it, you can skip this pylon and fight him with the last boss, but I wanted to give a guide that showed the most common route or an easier route for pugs. After your lieutenant is dead, you want to go ahead and pull the rest of the trash. Here in this pack, we have another bewitched captain. Now, ideally, you do not want to pull Matron Alma with the group. We accidentally did. It's nothing too crazy. Just know how to handle them. She will do a decaying touch, and it puts a dot on your tank. It can be dispelled. I suggest dispelling it. Again, watch out for those shadow cleaves, and watch out for the sisters. They do a runic mark. This last lieutenant here, again, group up all his ads if you can, DPS them down, or just let them explode. We're not taking this portal anywhere, so it didn't matter. Make sure you're getting interrupts on Lingering Doubt and Crippling Pestilence. Once you're done with the lieutenant, move down. I decided to split this pull up. If your group's feeling crazy, go ahead and pull it all. I don't recommend doing it as things can get crazy out of control. Now with this boss, again, a really simple fight. You don't need hero for it. DPS Lord Waycrest down. Lady Waycrest gets mad, heals him back up. Cast these blue circles, do not stand in them. Throughout the fight, you will see these green circles cast on your party. You want to go ahead and spread them out. As you can see here, all of our melee got hit by the circles, and it simply just spreads and spreads and spreads. So you want to make sure you get out of the group before you get dispelled, or drop it off yourself with a cloak or an ice block. Upon dispel, they will leave a little pool and then explode and then go away. On the third time that Lord Waycrest dies, Lady Waycrest will spawn. The only thing you have to worry about is interrupting Racking Cord. Other than that, DPS them both down and move on. Now a neat trick you can do with these Gloom Horrors is they will leap on the furthest target. But if you're a ranged class or a ranged healer, you can go ahead and go stand where our mage is standing up on that ledge, and they will never leap on you as you are not in their line of sight, but you can still DPS them. Finish up the dogs, move down to Gorak Tool. Now this is a fairly simple fight, but it can get out of hand very quickly if not everybody understands the mechanics. First thing you want to watch out for is Death Touch Slayers casting Death Lens. You want to interrupt that with a stun of some sort. Next, you want typically your healer to grab that vial as you just saw there, and you want him to throw it on top of the dead Death Touch Slayers to prevent more from being made. When the Gorak Tool reaches 100 energy, he will cast Dread Essence. When he does this, it does a little bit of AoE damage, but it also resurrects all the Death Touch Slayers that were not burned by the vial. That is why it is imperative to get all the ads down together and burn them before he reaches 100 energy. If not, the ads will become overwhelming and your group will just die because there will be too many Death Lens going out and it's just impossible to heal through. Other than that, you want a single interrupt on Gorak Tool's Lightning Bolt. The tank can handle that himself. And as long as you do that, manage the ads, this fight is very simple. There you have it, folks. Waycrest Manor in the bag. I appreciate you guys tagging along with me on this journey, and I hope you learned something or at least took something away so that the next Waycrest Manor you guys run is not a dead key. If you're enjoying this type of content, remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be reminded of when I drop my next Mythic Dungeon poll-by-poll video. You can also catch me live on Twitch. I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to jump in the chat, ask me questions. I love talking to you guys. I love getting the feedback. That's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one.